Welcome to Sri and Kira Live. As our world spins seemingly out of control, we are all experiencing time speeding up, chaos shifting to a new level, and a yearning to know the greater mysteries of the universe. What does it all mean? Visionary spiritual teachers and best-selling authors Sri Ram Ka and Kira Ra explore these mysteries, offer live soul readings, and invite you to open up your mind, body, and spirit to the paradigms that are shifting. Bringing you fresh perspectives and timeless wisdom, here are Sri and Kira.
Hey,
star 3.
Just star is good.
It is. Namaste, beloved ones.
And we welcome you to Sri and Kira Live. I am wisdom teacher Sri Ram Ka.
And I am Master Lady Kira Ra. And today Sri and I are coming to you from the 0 point inside the torsion field of the ignited discus energy. And so this opened yesterday with the Lion's Gate, the 8-8 power moment, that collective roar that we are all in right now. We are going to be talking about that and about this week. This week, guys, is about spiritual fatigue or rising consciousness. It's a big one, and there's a lot of energy and a lot to share, and we're sharing it everywhere. Where are we, Sri?
Hey, I hope you're catching us at Oneness Talk Radio's homepage or official Sri and Kira over at YouTube. And we're also streaming to the Facebook page of Oneness Talk Radio, bbsradio.com. And there might be more. That's what's on the top.
There's I don't even know how many hundreds of affiliates. So thank you all for being here. And hey, remember, you want to get in that queue. Today's a very special day. Lots of calls going to be happening today. Lots of your sharing. We want to hear your questions. We want to hear what you're saying, what you're feeling about what's going on, especially as we dive into this energy. So let me give you those phone lines so you can get in right now. And over at BBS Radio, where you get to say hey to Dawn, our great producer over there, 888-627-6008. Again, 888-627-6008. Remember, if you call and it's busy, that does mean all the lines are full. So hold on to the number, because as soon as we would talk to someone, that would free up a line. You can also give us a buzz over at onenesstalkradio.com, 517-208-1500. Again, that is 517-208-1500. And hey, remember today especially that we want to hear from you. So over at Oneness Talk Radio, if you have a comment, a question, or we're going to be talking about the Advanced Ascension symptoms, so you might want to be checking out with Sri around that. You'll want to press star 5. And so did I get all that?
You did great.
Hey, I got it.
So over at the 517 number, you can push star, asterisk 5, and it'll send a little tag by your name, and that lets us know that you want to talk about an ascension symptom or a physical issue.
It doesn't mean you can't get a mini soul reading. It just means that you'd like to join the conversation in that way as well. And so exciting times, Sri. I mean,
Absolutely.
This is, I just want to first and foremost give a bow, because we are at an incredible moment. This moment right now, my angels, this is not a blip. This is not a thing that's coming together for whatever other reason. This is the core, right? The absolute core. We have been talking about the core. We have been preparing for the core, and we are at the core. And this is the vision they've been showing me. Very similar to my near-death experience, by the way, but this is the vision they've been showing me. So you're looking into the core of the discus, and this is the 0 point that ignites the torus field. And that all happened yesterday. And that was what the Lion's Gate did. It was a collective roar that said, we know we are at a moment where humanity is actually in an we are witnessing in real time evolution, guys, conscious evolution right now, real time. And this is why it's intense.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And for those of you that are saying, wait a minute, I'm not witnessing that. I'm witnessing something else.
Yeah, that's all part of it.
I want to remind you, what was it like when you sat in the passenger seat, let alone as a kid in the back seat of the car, looking out the window?
Right.
Did you ever used to play the game where you'd look at the sky and it was hardly moving, and you'd look somewhere a little closer and it was going by and you look down at the road and zip, zip, zip.
Whoa, vomit comet at that point, right?
Well, that is truly feedback and training for where you place your attention will determine the experience and what you witness.
So, Shri, let's put up the first slide then.
Yeah.
Because this is what's really happening this week, and we want to talk right about it. And this is, Shri, this is the one that talks about the...
It's right near the top.
No, it was the one. Forgive us, guys. My husband put these in here, and I don't understand his definitions. Okay, this is the one that shows the consciousness, that shows steadfast commitment and
the passionate action. Here, let me excuse us for a second. We're
yeah,
going to go
forgive
off
us
screen.
now. Forgive us, guys. I'm really, really sorry. My husband did this without me. Can you let me see that one first? Yeah, that one.
Yeah.
That's it. Yeah.
Okay, here we go.
Sorry, everybody. You can tell we're a live show, right? And so here it is. This is what's really important to understand, is that right now, the energetic power of steadfast commitment, focused awareness, and complete trust is universally neutral. It always has been. And we have been working with this energy to get us to the core, to get us ready for quite a while now, that the divine directors have come forward and said, look, if you want to call forward a miracle in your life, then what you really need to do to ascend into the energy of that which you are calling forward is you need steadfast commitment, focused awareness, and complete trust. Now, here's the evolution of that right now. It is universally neutral. So it's how you apply this energetic power, because it's power no matter what. It's how you apply it that's going to be directly affecting your creation more than ever. Now, here is what's going on right now. This is what's opening up today's show. And I know we might push some buttons today, and I know we might go after that, and that's okay. It's important for your divine mastery. Lift, lift, lift. And remember, what is the name of our show? The Voice of Passionate Action. Passionate action is an energy. That energy focuses on the solution, whereas all activism focuses on the problem. So I want you to just first breathe that in. Breathe that in, because when we're looking at things, are we looking at them because they're telling us there's a problem, or are we looking at them because they're showing us a solution?
Something we can contribute to.
Exactly. Yeah. And so remember, activism expands the energy of judgment and anger. All energy expands, right? We are light. We are always expanding. So one of the aspects of light is activism, and activism expands the energy of judgment and anger. Passionate action expands the energy of creationism, compassion, which is what? Fifth dimensional living, and vision. And so let's breathe that in, because that's this moment in this energy. Yeah. Right here. Yeah. This is what opened up if you are rising consciousness versus those that are in spiritual fatigue. And that's the other piece of this equation right now. And we're hoping that just being in this energy is helping you. So feel free to breathe it in.
There's a number of discernments to kind of unwind here. Yeah. Because we exist in a very fluid way of being, and we can be triggered at times by lower frequency energies, and we will engage them at a lower frequency aspect of ourselves.
Yeah.
We can be inspired sometimes by our divine connection, and we then engage the shared world from a whole different place. And so as you look at this torus field and imagine yourself standing in the center of that.
Well, and I think we actually have a picture of that, don't we? The torus, the gold torus. Okay. We're going to stop talking about pictures. Why don't you just keep talking? We'll let it go.
Yeah, it's up there, honey.
Okay. All right. I'll look while you chat. How about that, Shri?
Okay.
Please.
So
Sorry, guys.
The thing I want to say is that when we are engaging the world from the standpoint of the outer world being our point of reference, then our energy field to the cosmic begins to truncate, and we begin to focus our energy out into the density. So activism is a way of saying, I choose to lift out of density, but I do not choose to fully surrender to the divine. There's an interesting dynamic that happens
this is
there.
where we do need to talk about the pyramid of spiritual awakening, because that is absolutely, and you'll notice did you see the chakra overlay here too, guys, that we put on this one? So let's talk about that, because the spiritual activism does finally bring you into your heart, which
Yes.
is the irony of it, which
Yes.
is why it's so challenging to move through it, because it's a trap.
Well, if you
It's
look
a
at
trap.
the green energy there, what
Exactly.
you're seeing is that at its highest expression, activism is a desire to include more people in a positive ideology or a positive experience. So it is at its best, it is inclusive for all beings. However, the earlier forms of activism are basically an us versus them kind of dynamic. And in that, there is a lot of judgment. There's a lot of sense of there's bad out there and we have a solution. And that whole dynamic of good versus bad and hierarchy does nothing more than perpetuate the dramas.
Yeah.
And that drama and the chaos and the focus on external conditions triggering internal unrest is a dynamic that is just part and parcel with density consciousness.
Now, if you look at this, you'll also notice that the third chakra is the bridge. It's the third chakra that bridges us between density consciousness and spiritual activism. And so the third chakra right now is really being pulled, because the energy of this time is in direct contrast with an ascended heart. And you notice how we move up through the spiritual activism, which actually does call us from our heart. And so let's talk about what that means in this moment right now, because we are in a week where this is really, the trap has been laid. And the reason the trap has been laid, or how the trap got laid, is through what is really being experienced by many as spiritual fatigue. Mm-hmm. And let's talk about this, because spiritual fatigue is when you literally just say, this is hard. I just don't want to do this anymore. That's a choice. And we are in a choice month, and that is a choice made in fatigue. And so when we become spiritually fatigued, it is because we are still not owning who we are. You are only spiritually fatigued because you are trying to carry your spirituality with you along with everything else that you are carrying with you. And it's just too much. Something's got to give. And in that moment, what gives usually is your spiritual life, because the density life is still more compelling and still more real. And there's a lot of incredibly brilliant, awake beings that are in their heart that are trapped in this spiritual fatigue. And through that, they blend back into that layer of spiritual activism, because it's aligned with density consciousness. Lest us not forget that all of the isms are birthed out of density consciousness. The belief in the separation, the belief in the scarcity, right? The belief in the, safety, 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 scarcity, 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 poverty consciousness, poverty consciousness, poverty consciousness. But when we are in this spiritual activism level, which Shri and I have been sounding the alarm since 2003, that the planet was moving into spiritual activism, and that the faster we were able to get into ascension awareness, the greater we could offer that buffer, right? The balance, right? Because each level has its purpose. We must have these to hold each other together in this creation. However, right now those levels are and levels is a bad word, those experiences are sincerely just out of balance. And so here we are now, where spiritual activism has not only become the most potent layer on the planet, and that is the layer that we have said since day one is the single most dangerous to be stuck in, both in your personal evolution and planetary evolution, and that is where the planet is right now. The irony is that the planet's at the peak of it, which means we're also that close to popping through to ascension awareness. Yeah. And that's the exciting piece. But it's because it is peaking, and because it is smart and evolved, and because it's easy. It's easy because it's group think. It's easy because it's group consciousness. That is the trap that's before all who are holding in the 0 point right now, to stay unified in the 0 point, to not allow anything to come in and stop that spin. Because if it's coming in, it means that you're still carrying your spiritual life rather than living it.
Well, that's a wonderful discernment. And one of the things I want to offer to everyone viewing is I believe, a very important kind of self-awareness experience is to ask, where am I getting my energy from? Mm-hmm. When we are energized by something going on in the outside world, we must look at, where is it engaging us? Is it engaging our heart? Or is it engaging a lower chakra, which means it's about fear or anger?
Right. The gut mind is always based in fear, always.
And so when we look at all forms of activism, one thing that almost all of them have in common is that the perceived injustice, the perceived flaw, energizes an empowerment within them, an empowerment to take action. However, the difficulty with that is that if it's engaged at the level of anger or fear, you're actually velcroing yourself into a level of consciousness that will perpetuate that cycle forever. The cause could change, but the way we engage has been turned into an addiction. It's a lot like if any of you have had explosive or abusive relationships or know people. The anger addict finds an empowerment, a thrill in the anger. And it's not like, I need some anger. It's like it just is an automatic addictive
Right,
response.
it's like an adrenaline energy,
It's an
right? Yeah.
Just like the kids playing the little games. They're getting a dopamine response.
Right.
It becomes very addictive.
Yeah.
I didn't have that benefit growing up. I had to smoke cigarettes to get my little response.
Me too. 3 packs a day. I was awful.
So, but as we just pause and have a smile and take a look at this, your shared world has, and it's hard not to use the word layers, because what happens as we lift, we have ever refining experiences. So we can move out of this brute egocentric, it's all about me, into a more refined sense of getting along with others and having groups, my religion, my politics, my society, my culture. Okay, that's a group identity, but it's still in opposition. Ascension, meaning opposition, it compares itself to something outside.
Can I say one thing real quick? Okay,
Yeah.
I want to jump in because, now breathe this one in, guys. With the rise in consciousness of oneness, you're also seeing that all of these groups are now screaming for their moment.
Yeah.
And so what that's doing is, in the overarching, well-intended unification concept of density, it's actually caused all of these groups to become more polarized, more separate than they have been, to the point where you're stealing my culture rather than seeing the honoring of the blending of all cultures. Consider that dynamic. Consider that dynamic. And so this is something that is really about consciousness. It is an attack on consciousness, and
Yes.
it is important to look at that discernment that in a world of spiritual activism, we're gonna champion, and I'm all for it. We're going to be championing this, the end to all of these ridiculous stereotypes and identifications. Yet the irony is, it has actually stimulated, because of the consciousness that called it forward, it has actually stimulated more polarization among all of these groups. And now it's about, well, no, my group deserves it more than your group. That's trying to solve it at the level of consciousness that created it, versus being in this 5th dimensional experience, holding that energy and radiating the energy of the oneness and the appreciation of the allness, so that that energy is then embraced at a level of consciousness that frees it all immediately. And that's under attack.
It is under attack, and it's under attack because there is a grand compression going on within this strata of existence. And I mean form, having a physical body. If you have a body, you have entered into a dimensional realm, we call it third dimension, and that your consciousness, your energy can lift. You can go through the fourth, fifth, seventh, ninth. You can lift and touch. However, your anchorship due to the body relationship is more dense, is it not?
Yeah.
And so that density relationship, together with the fact that you do have an ego, it comes with...
And you always will.
It comes with the body. That this is me, this is mine. So that immediately puts a separation, which is very useful for getting around density. It's good to know where you start and the other person, and all that. So this is all part of the fun. It's not necessarily needed to create antagonistic positions. But what happens when there's an undercurrent of fear, which then brings up the active principle called anger. So fear is a collapsing energy. It's like, oh, anger is a pushing out energy.
Lashing out.
Okay, so when fear is bubbling, there comes a point where people say, enough.
Right?
Who can I blame?
Right.
Where can I push? Because I want the experience of feeling empowered and in control. I don't want to feel
afraid
and frightened and collapsed.
I'm afraid.
And so you're looking at a natural expression. These are evolutionary steps. What's important when we begin to really crystallize around a positionality or an identity is to maintain our awareness and realize, oh, I have sought my refuge there. It gives me a sense of empowerment, but is that really what I'm seeking? It can be a lens. It can be fun. Sometimes I look at life like I'm a man. Sometimes I look at life like I have no identity whatsoever. It's all fun. And so the key here is what we're wanting to impart to you today is to stimulate a discernment so that you have the maximum amount of freedom and joy and love in your life. And the more we lift into the heart as our foundation, thus relaxing the fear and the anger, the more choices present, the more opportunities to look through the veil and see the love that is seeking to emerge through the positionalities.
Now, this is because you're going to see things because your consciousness is expanded. So therefore, you will see solutions you did not see before.
Yeah.
You will have a greater context for everything that is happening. And thereby, your action in the world is coming from pure inspiration. This is what we mean by the no ego moment. It is the moment where the ego stands aside and is like, hey, I am so good working with this body, you go do it, right? That's that sacred union, soul and body. That's what this moment is really all about, is trusting the body to do what it needs to do so the soul can really lead. So let's talk about climate change for a moment, because one of the gifts of the WWA Global moment is that WWA Global is a community that has come together that says that is literally standing on the front line and saying humanity matters. I actually give a damn about not only my children's future, but their children and their children.
Yeah.
And I remember that I am blessed to live on this planet right now as a caretaker for them. And right now we all need a good talking to, because the planet is saying, I am tired. Gaia is fatigued right now. So she is taking care of herself. And she is trusting us enough, humanity, to be mature enough, because she has taken care of us for so long, for us to have arisen to a moment enough that we can see what she is doing and love her through her birth. Who's holding her while she is in pain? She has been in labor for a while, and she is now at a moment where she is screaming and saying, hey, do you have my attention yet? Do I have your attention yet? We are one. We are one in this journey. We are the co-creation. Remember, all of this is an illusion. So this beloved mother, this beautiful Gaia womb that loves us all so much, she's part of our creation, so we can help her and really revitalize her. The body is not the only thing that can reverse age. Let us help our beloved Gaia do the same. Yeah. But in order to do this, my angels, we must lift our consciousness beyond the thinking that is seeing this in this linear way, and invite ourselves, and this is why I'm talking about climate change. Climate change is Mother Gaia saying, hey, we're at that moment. I've got a birth. I've been carrying this. The baby's coming. Hey, are you ready? Right? And so the timelines have been collapsing. And Shri and I have been talking about this since we first sounded the alarm about the collapse of the fourth dimension over 10 years ago. That because of this condensation of the energy, because the energy is getting so condensed, the good news is that it's going to squeeze it out of you faster, right? But the other half of that coin is that it's going to feel really hard. And that's how spiritual fatigue comes in, is when we are focused, when that focus is in the ism. And I want to put up that slide that we had up earlier, Shri, one more time right now, because passionate action focuses on the solution. All isms, all activisms, all isms focus on the problem. You are always focused. The isms, the activism energy, expands the judgment and anger. Passionate action energy expands the creation, the compassion, and the vision.
And it invites participation through love.
And that's the key. It begins at the ascended heart. And remember, we cannot hold our ascended heart stable unless the lower three chakras know that they are free to dance. That you are trusting the body enough, that the body and the spirit have become one, that you are saying yes to the dance together. And in order to do that, it begins with saying yes to you. When we say yes to you, we say yes to all. And so again, going back to where this very long journey began, and yet this infinite journey is continuing, is that the WWA Global Community was born yesterday. And if you were not there live, then really feel into your heart, because what happened yesterday, I can't even share.
Very, very powerful and exciting.
I'm still integrating,
yeah,
right?
Yeah.
And so, learn about it. Go to wwaglobal.com. You can still join us. We are going to be together live every Saturday this month. Plus, starting this week, every Wednesday, we're doing live Q&A as well. We're starting our mentorship piece of this. That's happening in real time live with Shri Jess and I this Wednesday. If you're part of the WWA community, you'll get your email on that tomorrow. August is a month where density wants to see you stop. Yeah. And the climate change that is happening right now is actually, breathe it in, it's a reminder that the timeline is collapsing. And so rather than looking at the timeline and saying, how do I know this timeline's collapsing? How do I know what energy is happening? Well, Shri and I sounded this alarm a couple months ago that we were already collapsing the end of this year, 6 months ahead. But was it 2 days ago? We discovered that the scientists have now said that the melting and all the things that they thought were delayed, that we would not start seeing till 2050, are going to be here within 5 years.
Yeah. That the overall temperature of the planet,
the critical 1.5,
is going to happen within the next 5 years. It's accelerating outside of their predictive models, which is telling you
the timelines
that the timelines have shifted and that this is not a linear reality.
And this is why, yes, we need to look at how we're taking care of Gaia. However, it's got to happen up here in the seventh and fifth dimensions. You've got to hold that compassion for yourself. You've got to love yourself even more. Get into the fifth dimension where you can start freeing out those judgments. And once you do, you can lift into the seventh. And this is how we can affect the healing of Gaia that will affect this climate change, that will relax the timeline constriction. Because we are in a in-breath moment that's like it's sucking everything back in, and at some point the exhale must happen. So how we exhale and what we co-create, we are determining right now. And the discus of Vishnu yesterday, right there's the finger that held it. Not only did it ignite, we were called as part. This is what happened during WWA. We all literally flew here. And literally, we're able to begin that ignition cycle, not only for ourselves and our own lives, but for all. And so again, if you weren't there or if you're not called to be there, at least breathe in what opened yesterday. And those of you that were there live, make sure you are connecting with this a lot this week. And we will use this as our background all week as well. Yeah. So, wow, Shri, I'm just like, feeling everyone. And I'm wondering if we have some callers that have some questions, maybe we could start there and then go back and forth, because we still have a lot to share today.
Well, we have some callers standing by, and let me take a peek here at our boards and see where we are. Well, all kinds of
hands up,
and first-timers.
Okay, and let's see. So it looks like all of our first-timers over at BBS just want mini soul readings. Dawn, would you let us know if that's the case or not? And we'll go over here to Oneness Talk Radio, and I guess let's go up to New York. We have a hand up right here in New York.
Okay.
There we are. And namaste. Welcome. It looks like Amityville, New York. Hey, welcome.
Hi, Sharon Kara. Thank you for taking my call. It's such an honor. I have a sharing and also a question for Shri about, I guess, a symptom. Mm-hmm. The sharing is that yesterday on the Lionsgate, we were in my backyard, my husband, myself, and my daughter, and this beautiful dragonfly just landed right next to him on something he was holding, and it was really just like a few inches, and gave him this like powerful message. And they have been surrounding us all day today as well. And I know you talk a lot about the year of the dragonfly, so I was just curious what that is about. And then I guess the symptom that has been prevailing for me is just the inability to relax and just really having a difficult time with sleep, falling asleep, staying asleep, just a lot of anxiety. And I would appreciate an insight into that. Thank you.
You're welcome. Would you like to go first, or should I?
Sure. There's a couple of things that come forward as I connect with your energy.
All right.
So let's start at more foundational. Your third chakra, which governs your sense of safety in the body. And I don't mean it's safety from the root standpoint. What I mean is trusting your spiritual being to be in this vessel.
Yeah.
So that's a little different. So the third chakra is kind of that transition point between the spiritual world and the physical world. And what I'm sensing there is that there is a little bit of attention being called for to help you learn to trust who you are while you are here in form. And so I ask, as I gaze at your field, I ask, well, now where is the source of this? Where is the split, so to speak? Because oftentimes when we have two directions going, it disrupts our sleep, it disrupts our peace, and it's right up here for you. In what would be referred to as the sixth chakra. And what I'm inviting you to do is to really meditate more consciously on this area of your body, because what I'm sensing is that there is two directions at work. One is a strong call to connect with spiritual family, that is alive in you and is pulling you. And yet there is a strong investment in where you have come from, meaning the family of origin, the culture of origin, and all of that. And the two of them are not harmonized yet. And this is causing kind of a headache, kind of a, where do I center here? And so in order to harmonize those, it's necessary to do a little meditative work. It's necessary to be with and resolve that which has gone before. So it's kind of like forgiveness work. I accept all that's gone before, and I thank it, and I'm grateful, and I let it go. That kind of attitude helps heal that split direction.
Well, and I do want to jump in, sweetheart, and I want to invite you to bring your hands to your heart, because in addition to everything that Shri said, I also want to share about the dragonflies actually as a part of this. Number one, and this is why we wanted to hear from all of you, what you're sharing is one of the Advanced Ascension symptoms. Remember that 2020 is a year that for the first time ever, fear is an ascension symptom.
Yeah.
And anxiety is an aspect of fear. And what it's signaling to you is everything that Shri shared. Yet, what I really want to call to your attention is that all these dragonflies that are coming in around you are calling to you. Yeah. They're coming in as, and this is what I was just starting to share before we wanted to start welcoming in people like yourself, that this is another confirmation of the timeline collapse. Remember that, and this is where you need to bring your hand to your heart, because in your case, it's about that really deep, deep, deep self-acceptance. That's why I have your hands there. But I really want you to invite this, that the more that you can say yes to who you know you really are, and the more that the universe and density start giving you confirming messages, the faster you're going to be able to really anchor everything that you've been looking for. And your husband is involved in this in a very interesting way. That's why the dragonfly went to him, that what you were talking about, and gave him the beautiful message, because the two of you are being called to work closer together. And so it's like the density is coming forward, and this is the year of the dragonfly on so many levels. Remember, it's because it's the year of the dragonfly that we have this visionary transformation, right? Yeah. That we have this incredible, profound shift. And we also have more people awakening to the ascended presence, because that visionary transformation is what? Timeline adaptation. And you're going through that very consciously right now. So thank you for bringing this up for all of us. We are grateful to have welcomed you to the show, and many blessings.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Namaste, Angel. Namaste.
No, many blessings.
Well, and then Shri, it brings me to, I want to go back to and talk about some of these other issues that are happening right now, because with these advanced ascension symptoms, this is what's leading to a lot of the symptoms is this, excuse me, that with the advanced ascension symptoms, what's happening is that the spiritual fatigue is coming because of them. And a lot of you are going through a lot of multiple physical symptoms. One of the new ones that has come in that I have been walking through for a little bit while now has been instant numbness. It'll either be a hand, like an entire hand, like suddenly for no reason, it's the whole hand has gone pins and needles. And I've had it happen with the foot. I've also had other situations like that. And my spine and I are in a fascinating journey of realignment right now. And when those symptoms first came in, it's always important that the first thing is to notice what the mind does. So in my case, these are some of the advanced symptoms we're sharing with you right now. And I noticed that one moment where you're like, wow, there's no reason for this. Is there a neurological problem?
Should I be alarmed?
Right, should I do that? And what was so beautiful was that as that came through, I was simultaneously, remember I've shared with all of you before, I feel like I live looking at 5 screens all the time. As I was aware of that, I was loving myself aware of that. And then in that 7th dimensional field of non-judgment, I was aware of what was happening to my hand. And what was happening was that I was literally, it's like, and this is why I really wanted this 0 point. It was like dipping into that energy and literally having the hand dissolve and then bringing it back in. And the more that I've been working with this, that has been my experience of it. And what I have now been able to really share with you, because I've been doing it long enough, and this is why Shri and I only share these after we've really gone through them, is that I do know that the ability to be in the 7th dimension most of the time now is not only very comfortable, but it immediately brings you to resolution, because you're seeing, is this physical or is this something else? 7th dimensional experience opens you to seeing beyond what you would have normally doubted or even conceived of as an option. It takes you way beyond that. And how you'll know you're dancing with that in that 7th dimensional anchorship is that you will question yourself quite a bit. It's how you walk through those questions. It's your ability to take that steadfast commitment. I'm going to put the slide up again because it's just that important. It is this week. It is that energetic power of steadfast commitment, focused awareness, and complete trust that in its universal neutrality, you are applying it through passionate action, thereby always focused on the solution, thereby fear cannot exist. That is how you absolutely are aware you are in seventh dimensional experience, and you are capable of being in that. That's what the whole remember yesterday, that chalice came into us as we ignited, I'm going to put my finger right back there, the discus, and as we opened it, and as this 0 point has come in now for us to literally be sustained in that torus field.
You know, one of the things that comes forward for me, and I really want to impart this with love to each and every one of you, is that our lives present us with myriads of choices.
Yeah. Yeah.
And Kira was sharing her experience of having the seventh dimensional strata being, let's call it, and the fifth dimensional, the third dimensional interacts from time to time as well. Each of us can move into a vibratory zone, and drop out of it again.
Very quickly.
So
very quickly.
It might be nice if we had a little different phrase for, instead of saying fifth, seventh, ninth dimension, to be able to talk about the peace and compassion as the zone of the fifth.
Well, let's do that.
And the non-judgment, meaning the transparency of the sublime recognition of the beauty, is more of a seventh dimensional, and the ninth dimensional experience is
transcendent,
transcending the differentiations and seeing the light emerging from all these expressions.
It's also a reemergence. It's where we become the witness again.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now, here's the piece, is that because each and every one of us has the ability to transit, we have to ask ourselves from time to time, what is the juice I'm getting from my dominant zone of interaction?
Yeah, exactly.
There is a juice, a reinforcement that comes from it. Hello.
Okay. Go ahead.
And so when we tune in with that, then we start to become informed by our habits.
Mm-hmm.
Now, activism, as we led the show with here today, activism is nothing more than a grand habit. It is a habit of thinking like we can be at cause with something going on in density.
Right.
And in fact, it's like trying to attack a balloon. You know, an activistic cause may push your fingers in the balloon, and we're making some progress, but it pops out somewhere else.
Well, Shri, this brings us back to, and I know we're a broken record, guys, but here's where it is. And we did a huge thing around this in WWA Global yesterday. But remember that all activism feeds the victim triangle. In order to be activistic, there must be a victim, the activist is the rescuer, and there must be an abuser. And so really take this in. All forms of activism empower victim consciousness. And it doesn't mean that it isn't well-intended. I was a very well-intended rescuer for years. We all have our sophisticated means of playing into this. And if you look at the spiral here and the way that these three energies unify and work together and really blend together, that spiral is infinite. It never stops. The question is, are you spiraling up? Are you spiraling down? Is that spiral coming towards you? Or are you going into it? Or are you laterally moving? That's what this energy is about. That's what this month is about. This month is a huge energy month, and it is a month of choice. So imagine that right now, humanity has an opportunity, because all of humanity right now is and has been using victim, rescuer, abuser. All of your dogmatic traditions reflect it. This is why people need saviors. Only victims need a rescuer. What is a rescuer? A savior. And so those are the density experiences. Yet if we ascend, if we say yes to our higher consciousness, we have the ability to transform this very same energy that is assisting humanity, and we are in this evolutionary moment right now. Are we going to say yes to another turn around the victim, rescuer, abuser spiral and where that's going to take us? Or are we ready to say yes to the teacher, healer, mentor, the transformative energy of our ascended presence? That's the time when everything is done because it's just the right thing to do. When you have limitless energy, when you reverse age, when you are able to keep re-upping and not fall into the trap, spiritual fatigue comes because you are still in the victim triangle. Period. And you've got to get real with yourself on that.
The fatigue also is a sign that you're carrying compromises.
Right. You're carrying your spirituality rather than being it.
You know, when we step out of the BS zone,
right,
and just live in the authentic zone, what happens is two things. One, we feel inspiration. We feel the energy of joy and inspiration. And then number two, we puzzle on, oh my goodness, I have all these obligations and friends and activities that I put in motion from a different level of consciousness that are sucking me back in.
Which means when you start really doing this, chances are your partners in pain, friends, are going to change.
And then here's the other thing. I talked about how we have the ability to do multiple levels.
Right.
Well, one of the things that is important to recognize is that the multiple levels are always available to you.
Yeah.
And they're there for your own discernment. If we didn't have multiple levels, we would kind of go one lifetime here, one lifetime there, and we reflect at the moments between lifetimes.
Right.
We're given the gift of consciousness.
Wow.
And
wow.
So let's come back to a fundamental. The solution to all worldly problems is an elevation in consciousness.
Breathe that one in. And then feel it, because this is it.
The solution is an elevation in consciousness. Yeah. And the more we surrender to our, quote, higher self, the more we surrender to our soul's wisdom, the more we surrender to the divine, we call forward the energy of infinite creation into our individuated lives. And this happens for most of us little by little because it means we have to start letting go of our attachments to that which was kind of the false reinforcement from earlier.
And it's like the key is revealed.
Yeah.
One of the things we do every Monday, as you guys know, Monday Magic, and this is really something you can do for yourself, is join Monday Magic, is that we unveil hidden keys in sacred texts. And that is what happens, what you're just talking about here, is that the keys are opened. When all of those keys are before us, when you are carrying the keys, that's when you enter into that law of instantaneous manifestation. In the recognition that, and this is one of the spiritual traps, right? In the recognition that as you say yes to you, and as you are aware that this is all an illusion, the yoga of self-ascension illuminates your torus field. And what happens is that it keeps you robust in your rising consciousness. You become so clear and your energy field increases. All of your thoughts are inspirations. And so it gets easier and easier and easier because you have said yes to you. And Sheree, this brings us to something else that happened yesterday that I wanted to talk about.
Please.
And that is that, yesterday we, not only was it the Lionsgate opening and a massive moment where that chalice, that 33rd dimensional chalice said, okay, you ready to be who you are? Are you ready to claim it? Are you ready to stand up to it? And are you ready to own it in this limitless energy? And then the discus was revealed. Well, a couple other things happened, and two of them that I want to celebrate with all of you right now. And then we have an amazing film that we're going to show you which has an incredible interview, in-depth interview with Dr. Lorena and some other incredible footage that I think you're going to find fascinating. So I was not aware. Dr. Lorena came yesterday because we had found out about a Venezuelan refugee who was a chef that needs a home and a place to be and a place to rebuild his life. And so she was bringing him with her to see if maybe he was a fit for Tosa Blue Mountain. And well, I just want to share that we all got to witness a miracle. And I've asked Bria and Aparna to talk about this too. They'll be on the air with us right after the film. That when she showed up yesterday, she was really not well.
Yeah,
she
wasn't
bless
feeling
her
well.
heart. I mean, she came because she knew that this gentleman needed to come, and we had asked her to come, and she wanted to be here. But she was really hurting when she first showed up yesterday.
Yeah, and one of the things that was, here's the miracle manifestation.
Law of instantaneous manifestation.
So Lorena shows up,
She's hurting, babies.
Not feeling good, and
yet still here.
But her commitment
exactly
to keep moving forward, regardless of whatever this was rising up in her feeling body. She sat down and participated in the WWA Global presentation, the Lionsgate presentation. And during the course of that, when we got together after the interaction and the presentation was finished, she was vibrant. She was radiant. And we didn't know she wasn't feeling good earlier because all we saw was this fantastic, empowered
We had no idea.
Radiance.
And she was beaming and saying, Kira, when we did that activation, I've never felt that before. She was like, I really felt all the energy. And so I wanted to share that with you because we had already planned on showing you this beautiful interview of her and some of the things that are happening that just really we want you to be a blessing to connect with. But it was really quite a moment that after WWA Global, we were all sitting down to the meal prepared by this beautiful Venezuelan man who was saying, this is how I can cook for you. And honest to goodness, we all sat down to that meal. So there is at the end of this video is a quick clip that Bria Rose had her camera on, catching us we didn't know. It's a true behind the scenes kind of thing that Lorena and I were sharing. And you're going to get to see Dr. Lorena in real time, literally within 10 minutes after the WWA Global ended, and look at the energy she is exhibiting versus the energy in the rest of the film. And if you really want the whole story of this law of instantaneous manifestation in motion, when this short film opens, it's Bria and Lorena as Lorena had arrived here yesterday. So look at that. And then you're really going to want to hold on to what you're going to see on the other end of that film.
Yeah.
And I want to just share that as we're moving into this and talking about it, spiritual fatigue and rising consciousness is the moment before us. And, I do want to share something that one of the things that really became evident is lately, Shri and I have been witnessing there's a lot of really well-intended beings that are sending out a lot of conflicting information coming from what is considered to be a consciousness or ascended perspective. And so I want to give you a couple keys today. When you're reading that literature or when you go to those websites, one of the websites that I went to today, fascinating, right on the homepage said that, and this is a big awake group, right? We are like the leading edge of awake, and here's why you need to, everything on the page just kept telling me why I had to pay them, and which I thought was fascinating. All of their material is frightening, alarming. It's activistic. So that was my first key. Activistic energy does not exist if you are truly working with a consciousness, ascended consciousness experience. In the Yoga of Self-Ascension, one of the first things that Archangel Zadkiel shared with Shri and I was that the Yoga of Self-Ascension is about the divine presence within becoming one with a body of form so that you may attain your highest service in this lifetime, so that you may not only offer that gift to the energy of this form that has said yes, but to be of the highest service to that which is happening here, the co-creation, to take an active role in it. Believe it or not, the density is the passive role. I want you to just breathe that in. No matter how non-passive it looks. The density is like autopilot. It's the drone clone. It's the group think. That's the easy part. And that's why spiritual fatigue happens, because you're trying to navigate that with consciousness and, oh my God, I can't. And the reason you can't is because you're trying to do both. You're still not out of that. You're still attached to it, which is why you're trying to navigate it.
Or you haven't created an energetic sanctuary to recharge yourself.
Exactly.
One of the things that the Essene modeled thousands of years ago was they lived together in communities, and then they went out in the world to do their healing work, their interactive work, and then they came back to their community
to be constantly nourished,
to be recharged, so to speak.
Yep.
And so it isn't about the separation of the two. The teaching there is we must maintain ourselves, nourish ourselves, love ourselves in a way that can sustain the ascended frequency to be interacting with the denser frequencies. We don't lose our love. We don't get fatigue.
Yeah. And so this is why every week we come to you here from Tosa Blue Mountain, because we know that we are a ground zero self-ascension campus, so to speak. And so what we know is that all of us that get the blessing of living here, we know that we are simply holding this for all of you. And we are grateful to share that with you. And we know that all of you that have come here have also had the blessing of your own very rapid rejuvenation and healing. And you're now bringing that to your world where it can expand. And so in this moment right now, I want to invite your heart to expand. I want to invite you to bring your hands to your heart and take in a deep breath for a very special film that was made with a lot of love, featuring all of us here at Tosa Blue Mountain, taking you on a journey of love and humanitarianism. We love you, and we'll see you in just a few minutes. Enjoy.
Thank you all so much for joining us. In a minute, we're going to show you a short film of some of us donating food to the surrounding community where we are in the Andes Mountains, thanks to all of your donations. As you can see, we're way up here, way up in the mountains. Hey, Aparna! Angel's just asking people who in the community needs the food bags the most. Debido a esta situación que estamos pasando por esta pandemia, es muy difícil para los adultos mayores poder salir y poder obtener sus alimentos, poder trabajar. Entonces les estamos ayudando con la entrega de estas raciones para poder solventar de alguna manera sus necesidades. With Dr. Lorena Vintimilla, and last week on Soul Mirrors, she was sharing with us a little bit about a project that she's doing in the hospital.
Hi everyone, my project is about bringing some tablets to the COVID areas because there's a lot of patients that are not able to see their families or talk with them.
Because when people are in quarantine in the hospital, they are not allowed to have visitors at all. So they can't see their family, their children, their loved ones while they're in the hospital. And many people in Ecuador do not have cell phones, let alone smartphones or an ability to
see face to face through video. So thank you so much for your support and for your donations to make this dream come true.
Well, beloved angels, you can tell by the smile on Shree's and my face that we are beyond delighted to welcome into this beloved space Dr. Lorena Vintimilla, who is an angel in form, a miracle in process, and truly a unique blessing on the planet. Thank you for being here.
My passion is to help people, and not only people, to help everything that is alive, that has life. So I am trying to do the best for everyone, for persons, for animals, to give them the best choice that they can, the best therapies, the best treatments that I am able to do, so they can feel good and can feel safe and have a healthy life and a wonderful life for them.
Well, we have certainly witnessed you doing that. And I can absolutely attest to the fact that you are the living embodiment of what you say. As Shree mentioned, you are so authentic and so congruent and so rare. So I have to ask. So let me ask you this. So number one, brilliant, brilliant, brilliant. So you're a brilliant doctor. You have an incredible heart. You really take time, and your specialty is women, is it not?
Yes,
your
it
medical
is.
specialty, yeah.
I love to work with women. Mm-hmm. I work with men and women, but usually most of my patients are women.
Yes.
They usually call me the most. Dr. Lorena, can you please come? Yes, please wait for me 30 minutes, I will be there.
Yes.
So I do house calls and everything. I bring my therapies. I do also for terminal patients with cancer, I do therapies, I take care of them. And also I had my last patient was, he left us like 3 weeks ago, but it was an experience for growing.
Yes.
I grew so much. I learned a lot about live and give them the best quality of life.
And I feel like it's a miracle that we've met and that we're working together. I
Definitely,
really do.
it's a miracle.
It is a miracle.
I do believe in that.
Yeah, I do too. And it really is in every way. And I have to ask Lorena, how has it been as a woman doctor in Ecuador? Have you noticed, how does that navigate? How are you doing with that?
It's been a little bit hard.
I bet.
Many people don't trust women because we are women, and they say like, you're a doctor, yes, but you're a woman. And
So you hear
I
that?
prefer, yes, of
Yeah,
course.
yeah,
And they say,
yeah.
no, I prefer a man. But they don't know what they are losing because they have no idea how the women can be as a doctors. We are amazing in every kinds of way, and we can do our best for our patients.
Yes.
I always agree, we are the same. We always will be the same. With different gender, but we are the same.
Right.
We are capable of do everything that we are up to.
Yeah.
And like my mission in earth is helping people. That's why I'm doing it, and with my heart full of love, I help the people that they need me.
You know, I do want to just jump in here and talk about Clinica Linda, because for all of you that have so generously donated to Clinica Linda already, helping us with our Indigenous Outreach Food Share program and helping these people stay out of pain, if it was not for Dr. Lorena Vintimilla, we would not be able to get this clinic to the level where we can really do some good. And so we are very, very grateful that you are our resident doctor at the Clinica Linda. And thank you for helping with that.
I
And so,
love to help.
well, that's obvious. It really is. Thank you.
I love my patients.
Yes.
They are part of my family.
And we have witnessed that firsthand. We really have. Yeah.
Well, and that really, to me, says it all. When we start looking at each other as human beings, you are part of my family, as opposed to, oh, you are a label.
Right?
You are old or young or black or white or woman
are at
or
the same
man.
level.
You know, we have then distanced. We the connection is lost.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's true.
So it's important because everywhere we look, you see family.
Right?
We are a family.
We are. Lorena, as you were speaking to the world, what would you want to share in this moment to everyone as they are each walking in their own healing path?
Well, first of all, believe in ourselves. if we don't believe in ourselves, we are not able to or capable to do anything. And for me, it helped so much meeting you guys, because for me it's growing. I've grown like a person, I've grown like a doctor, and I'm keep doing my best for my patients and for the people, and the people that they already know me.
This is true. We can absolutely witness that and know that that is true. Thank you for the blessing of you. Thank you so much for being. Thank you to all of you for loving you.
And we hope that you will give yourself the gift of coming to visit Tosa Blue Mountain in Ecuador, meet Dr. Lorena.
You're gonna love this
and
place. Definitely.
Come and experience that which you have not yet experienced, meaning come and taste the miraculous.
Literally, if there was ever a fountain of youth or a miracle healing pool, it is here.
Yes.
It is here.
Yes.
And come visit Clinica Linda, and you can learn more at, of course, tosabluemountain.com and shriankira.com. And until the three of us have the opportunity to welcome you here in person, we love you. Thank you for being with us today.
Namaste.
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 I can feel a difference.
I see it. I can see
I
the
can see
difference.
from my last me and my new me. I'm a whole bunch new person,
Yeah, you are.
and it's amazing.
Isn't it though?
Yes, I love it.
And it's just beginning.
And I'm so happy. I can feel the happiness. I am like not sad. I feel joy, and I work even harder for my patients and happy.
Right. You'll have more energy.
Yes.
And your body will love you more.
Yes.
Everything comes
Yes,
together.
and that's why
Yeah.
I was saying to Priya, now I'm able to watch me in front of the mirror and say, oh my God,
I'm
I'm
pretty
beautiful.
rockin' awesome. Exactly. I'm
Yes.
loving this.
And the last year I was not able to do that. I was like looking at the mirror and says, I don't like me. But now I can see
In
it.
there.
Oh my goodness, what I was losing. Yeah, but finally I found it. Yeah, I found myself.
Hug me. You gotta hug me. Oh my God. I'm so happy for you. Graham, this is such a celebration.
No, and
So
this, I need to say thank you because you helped me to do this.
All I did was invite you to say yes to me.
You helped me to find me.
Oh, thank you. I'm so great. I am honored beyond belief. I am just so excited.
And it is a blessing
Yeah.
to have you. Like you're part of my family now.
You're a part of
And I love you so much.
We love you too, sweetheart. So
And I
much.
really appreciate what you have been doing for me. Because I can see the change. And it's huge.
And look at what immediately happened. Law of instantaneous manifestation.
Yes.
We're going to get these tablets in that facility. It's happening right now.
Yeah.
It's like, see what happens?
Oh my
When
God.
you say yes to you, miracle, miracle, miracle. Get
Yeah.
ready. Get ready.
The gates start opening.
Right?
Yeah.
And it will, and it doesn't stop.
Yeah.
Lorena, it doesn't stop. As long as you say yes to you.
Yeah.
As long as you keep saying yes to you and you know it, it doesn't stop.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back. I am Bria Rose.
And I'm Aparna Thambidurai.
And we hope you enjoyed that video. One of the things that really came forward for me while watching is just the blessing of being on the planet right now and how we have this opportunity that's really opened up to support each other even more in so many ways, and to really open our hearts in love and hold presence on a deeper level than as a collective than we have in, I don't know, maybe ever, or at least in so long. So thank you so much for all of your donations and all of your support, and just coming together as a community as often as we have the last few months. I mean, it's been so fun with Monday Magic and the lineage holder gatherings a couple months ago, Women Wellness Awakenings, and as many of you know, a lot of the proceeds from all of that goes towards, supporting the local people here, the food donations, Clinical Linda, and of course as well, Dr. Lorena's new project.
Yeah, it has been such a joy and a pleasure getting to know Dr. Lorena, as you've all had a chance to connect with in that video. She really embodies that passionate action, that heart-centered, committed, show up with loving support and presence, and such a delightful presence. And it's been beautiful to see her, and even just that transformation yesterday, and while showing up to be of service and share her love and presence and resources while supporting others and receiving the benefits of being connected to that flow and having that in and out, that inspiration and nourishment. And speaking of flow and Lorena and inspiration and connection and nourishment, it's been so amazing just how quickly things happen. She was just in the beginning of that video sharing, after the bit you saw, sharing with Kira how it was her dream to have, she works in these COVID wards where, as you were sharing, people come in and they don't have access to communication with their family, and often without even having the chance to say goodbye before passing away, or to even in other cases, just the communication with family is totally not there for many people. And so Lorena was sharing how that was her dream, and thanks to the generosity of so many of you and the really coming together in connection in this community, that dream's being fulfilled, and people are, I don't know if we're all the way there or almost there, but it's happening. It is happening, and thanks to the community and the heart-centered action of the community, people are having the opportunity to be in touch with the people that their nearest and dearest family in these moments where connectivity is such a source of strength. So thank you.
Yeah, and if you would like to donate to this project and other projects, the link to that is below the video in the video description box of this at YouTube, or at the homepage of ShriandKira.com. And we're also here to announce the winner of the contest, 15 Minutes in Heaven with Shri and Kira. That was a contest on social media. If you're not aware of it, we asked those of you, we asked the community to like several pages and to share a post and tag a friend. And those of you that did all of those and helped us, reach many others, we put your name in here. And so we're going to pick a name. We're going to pick one of you right now, and you're going to get 15 minutes with Shri and Kira, live video call, to use, for a conversation, ask questions, do a reading, any of those things that you want to do. So, okay.
Awesome.
Would you like to pick a name?
Thanks for letting me do the honors.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay, we heard it's honors time.
Yeah, it's honors time.
Hey, I want to be here for the unveiling. Here, Shri, let's be here for the unveiling. Hey guys, we're here for the unveiling. All right. No. You do it. We're just observing. We are witnessing. We're up here in the fifth dimension. Right. Okay.
All right. And the winner is
Go! Say it!
Kimberly Jenkins!
Hey, Kimberly! Hey, well, thank you. And thank you, Christine Purvis, for suggesting the contest, and also for your amazing attention to wwaglobal.com. She's the brilliant woman who made it possible. Gorgeous. And so thank you all. And let's do this again. Let's find out another way to do it again, and maybe more of you will also be involved. And we're excited. So, Kimberly, you'll get an email from Sue tomorrow, and that will invite you to determine when we get together. Now wait, before these two are running out of the studio. Come on, get in here. No, wait.
Championing this.
Come on back into the 0 point with us. There we are. All right. So let's all just give a big shout out to everyone and say thank you, beloved community, because for those of us that are the current residents at Tosa Blue Mountain, the four of us stand here as a mirror of perfect balance. And may you know how much we love you and how grateful we are for you and how honored we are to carry this energy on behalf of all. Thank you both for everything that you are doing to sustain this community. Thank you.
And for all of you watching, thank you for joining this community and letting us share what we're doing and enjoying and teaching. And we're just so delighted to be part of this big picture.
This is what rising consciousness looks like, because spiritual fatigue does not exist when you say yes to who you are. Mwah. We love you. Thank you.
Bye. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Well, wow. How exciting. Well, we really do want to hear from you. So what are you wanting to ask? What's going on with you in this energy right now? And Shri, who do we have holding? I know we have people holding over at BBS.
Let's head over to the BBS call board and start saying hi to folks.
Sure.
We'll begin with Rosemary from New York on line 4.
Hey, Rosemary. Namaste. Welcome.
Namaste.
Hi.
Oh my God, this is so exciting. Hi.
Hi. How can we serve you?
I was hoping for a mini soul reading.
Okay. Thank you for asking. Always a pleasure. And so I want you to bring your hands to your heart. And I also, it's funny, as I was bringing hands to heart, I heard, and bring one to your third chakra. So let's put one on the third chakra, keep one on the heart. And just taking a breath up. And as you do, they're saying, oh, wow, it's so funny. It's like a chant. So I need to share with you more than what they're saying. We're at like a campfire and everyone is dancing, literally dancing around the campfire, and everyone's dancing a different dance, yet you're dancing as one circle. And in the middle is this huge flame, and I just keep watching it go up and up and up. And it's definitely nighttime. And I can't see much beyond that. It's just the fire, this flame is illuminating the circle and all the dancing. But the message, and they wanted you to hear the message in that energy. The message is, it is time for you to remember who you are and to stop pretending who you are. And so it is. Thank you for opening that energy for all of us today, Angel. Namaste. Wow.
Namaste. Thank you so much.
Wow. Yeah. Thank you. And all of you, I just felt a lot of third chakra. Remember, we talked about this in the first half of the show right now. The third chakra is really having to, with that pyramid of spiritual awakening. Let's just bring that into the second half of the show because it's that important. You will see that the pyramid of spiritual awakening also reflects our chakra ascension energy. And that right now, the planet is literally stuck in spiritual activism. And that the gift of that is that means we're a breath away from ascension awareness energy.
And spiritual activism can either be grounded in a power struggle, which is represented by that yellow energy, that third chakra energy, or it can be more inspired by a heart energy, but using the tools of density to deploy that heart energy, which is what keeps it wrapped up or velcroed into density.
And if you gaze at the top of spiritual activism, just as it peaks into ascension awareness, you see the entrance of the blue. That's the ascended heart activation, which means that we need to open our heart to ascend to ascension awareness. However, just as importantly, we need to say yes to our absolute knowing. Go ahead, Shri.
Well, there's one other picture I want to show
Please.
here. Let me find it. We got so many things on the list.
Yeah, we do.
Can I
help?
I don't think so. I'm reading.
Okay.
I just have to scan the list. There it is.
All right, he found it.
So here's the same pyramid showing the layers or the zones of consciousness. But take a peek there. In the center is what we call the joy portal.
Yeah.
The energy of joy occurs at every level of consciousness, and it is an uplifting energy. Joy is always buoyant, is it not? Joy is always bringing forward that which is positive. And so if we look at joy as a gateway, it will become your guide through the various levels of interaction. Look for the joy portal in your life and continue to do that which brings you joy, and you will lift lift, lift.
Exactly. And this is where the isms, this is where that spiritual activism, this is where those isms become so compelling. And remember, we opened up the show this week is very much about that. And let's go ahead and one more time read about that the energetic power of steadfast commitment, focused awareness, and complete trust is universally neutral. Remember, all true energy is neutral. It only starts taking on form when it shows up in this moment where we apply it to make form. And that's the key, is it not? It's how you apply this energetic power that affects the creation. And we are at a moment right now where humanity is redefining itself, and we are awake to it, which means we can affect the balance so that it is in harmonic balance. Passionate action does that. It focuses on the solution. It puts all the energy into the solution, thereby freeing you from anger and doubt and fear, because you're just focused on all that is positive, on all that is before you, on living the solution, thereby birthing it. And all activism of any form focuses on the problem and carries with it that energy of the victim triangle. So remember, activism expands energies, judgment, and anger. Passionate action expands the energy of creationism, compassion, and vision, thereby holding you in the fifth dimensional consciousness. And this is what just opened. This is that beautiful 0 point that is saying you are able to do this. You are able to go beyond, and that is what is going to help the most.
You know, one of the things that I've shared with people off and on that seems appropriate to share again is that we need little tips for how to modulate and manage our own energy, because it's so easy to get distracted by the pull of that which is habitual or familiar.
True.
We have become accustomed to pain. We have become accustomed to compromise. We have become accustomed to things, to struggle, to lack. All of those frequencies of experience are so common that part of our psychology just says, oh, that's normal. No, it's not normal. It's just frequent.
Or it's hopeless. It's, I'm in too much physical pain in my body. And I really want to go back to the physical body right now, because this right now, this moment, this right here cannot anchor for you unless the sacred union that really comes together within. Yeah. And so as we're bringing this sacred union energy in right now, it's just important to move forward from there, to say yes to the 0 point and then create from the positive focus.
Absolutely. And the positive focus is the gateway. So if we notice, and rightly you should notice, there's discomfort in
their body
or in the world or whatever. However, if you only see the discomfort, you will be bound forever in a action-reaction situation. One of the ways I like to formulate this is to say, are you seeking freedom from a problem? The freedom from always carries the problem with it. I want to be free from pain. I want to be free from fear. I want to be free from my dysfunctional A, B, or C. Versus, what is it your heart says, this inspires me. What am I free to create, free to imagine, free to envision, free to support, free to love, to know, to be,
trust.
So freedom to is an invitation for an upliftment. Freedom from is a ball and chain saying, just give me, a moment of peace and then I'll go back to my prison. So it's important to kind of begin to play with these discernments in your consciousness. You have wonderful capacity. This isn't about intelligence. This is about attention. You can do this. You're already wired for success because you have within each of you an infinitely wise soul connected to the divine creation. And the longer we fool around thinking that we are less than, the longer that the habit of the pain dominates our consciousness, then your soul says, okay, you want more of that? Go have a whole lifetime of it if you like. Or more. Or you simply say, enough is enough. Yes. I choose joy. I deserve because I was bored. I am a divine being having a human experience, and I deserve the best in life. I deserve it because I took birth here.
Because I am.
Because I am. And in the I am is the anchor ship of that divine portal. And here we are on screen. The I am is not a linear experience. It is a connected state of beingness that will inform those other aspects of you, that what needs to be loosened up, what needs to be released, what needs to be invigorated will all happen very naturally. I am the resurrection. I am light. I am health. I am goodness. And in the recognition and the claiming of these energetic truths, we radiate out into our world of experience the qualities that would attract similar forms. That's how the instantaneous manifestation comes forward, is we radiate out this energy of truth, and what's reflected back are more of that.
Because we do not doubt the reflection. Remember that every time you doubt, you are turning away your abundance stream. You are saying no. And so this is a very powerful discernment, because it's where we transcend from the law of attraction to the law of instantaneous manifestation. It's where we transcend even into beyond the thought of that which we would want to manifest, because the inspirations that we are available to call forward are even beyond that. And we don't need to sit and talk about that. That's the gift of it, is that you do. I think we talk about it more on this show than we do all week long, because this is just how we live. And so trying to even encapsulate a way of being can become challenging. This is the invitation. This is why the spiritual fatigue is so strong right now. And part of what's happening with the spiritual fatigue is the density fatigue, specifically around the virus and everything to do with the virus. One of the things that Sri and I have been tracking since this began was the effect of consciousness. And one of the things that we're seeing very clearly is that the higher the consciousness and the greater the sacred union with the body, the more resistant. And that does not mean not taking other proactive steps. We do, and we leave each of you to your own wisdom. However, this has become a spiritual trap. And you will notice that even those with the greatest heart are calling forward some of the greatest judgment. And that if you do not agree with them, it's an ism. Because if you do not agree with them, then they no longer want to be aligned with you. And so breathe into that moment, because that's how you know. That's the ism. The ism is saying there's not enough space for all. The ism is saying there's space, but for my perception of the all, right? And so that's an ism. And that's wonderful. And we all go through it. Hey, guys, when I was in college, I got arrested for protesting. I mean, I get it. I was there. We all grow through it. It's part of what we do. And so this is that moment, right? This is that moment where the rising consciousness is so vast and so big that the spiritual fatigue is going to meet it. Because just when you need to re-up, which is what this is about, it's like we were sent this beautiful generator that said, we know you're tired. Step in and take a spin, right? It's really what it feels like this beautiful support. So it's a lot of beings are going to be tired, because there's going to be things that are going to happen over the next few months in density that, if you are in density, are going to absolutely be intense, and they're going to be freaking people out. And the gift is that if you can stay in this compassionate zone of consciousness, then you are available to be there with these solutions rather than meet it with the isms. Just something to think about this week.
It takes a lot more commitment and true power to hold positive energy, to hold the optimism that is aligned with the truth that everybody and everything is finding a new harmony. Mm-hmm. It takes courage to hold your joy in the face of an outer world that would seek to step on your joy and say, how dare you? I one time, years ago, I bought this refrigerator magnet, the little happy little stick-ons.
We have tons.
And it said, "What would Buddha do?"
Yeah.
And I bought it because it was just so cute. It had a picture of a Buddha, so you go to the fridge, you're kind of reminding yourself, well, Buddha consciousness, what would Buddha do? Well, Buddha wouldn't do anything. Buddha would be. Yeah. and so that in itself is a paradox. And what would Buddha do? Buddha would be doing no doingness.
Got it, baby.
Okay.
You're there.
All right. So, but here's the thing. If we do not remind ourselves to keep our eyes on the divine, who will?
Good question. Say that one again, right?
We need to find ways to remind ourselves to keep our eyes on the divine. Yes. And there's so many simple little things, and some of them include, how about that vase of flowers on your desk and in your bedroom? How about photographs or paintings or pictures that every time you look at it, you go, ah.
That's our entire campus, literally.
This isn't about doing homage to the dead auntie, although if it brings you joy, go for it.
Then do it. If it does this, do it.
But it is about maybe a picture of a beautiful mountain or a forest or a lake or whatever it might be for you. Exactly. The key is that joy is incumbent. It is arising constantly in your center of beingness, and we need to make choices that reinforce bringing that forward into the world of density, into our interactions. And the better we become at that, meaning the easier it becomes, the brighter your field, the more people who will kind of go, oh, I can feel some joy too. And the next thing you know is a little domino effect of joy, 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 ever new joy, joy. And we're happier as a community of mankind. It infiltrates step by step.
Exactly.
And if you have any doubt, if you think I'm being Pollyanna or silly, I want to remind you of, I wonder whatever happened to this. Back in the late 60s, I believe it was, or early 70s, the devotees of Maharaja Yogi, the transcendental meditation, was a movement that was gaining a lot of support in the United States and worldwide, thanks a lot to George Harrison of the Beatles.
Yeah.
So the TM movement actually did scientific studies that they would go into cities like New York and Chicago and St. Louis, etc., and they would gather as a group and meditate for several days in a row in a group meditation, and they would look at the crime statistics. And it was objectively demonstrated that when the meditations were active, crime went down. The police reports declined.
And this is so important. I mean, it's just so important for Sri to be bringing this back up, because right now, that's what we're doing. We're doing that as an ascended community.
Your life is your meditation.
Exactly.
You can sit down and take a deliberate time out and hold a zone of great peace and divine communion during a meditative state. Great. Good. But what about the other 23 and a half hours of the day? That's what we're talking about. Live the yoga of self-ascension, meaning live the joy of being aligned with your authentic soul energy, and let that inform your decisions.
All that you are. Why do you only have to have that state of connection when you're in meditation or not? Each person's meditation is unique. Yes. That's the gift of you, right? That each being's meditation is unique. It's accepting that. Where does your inspiration come from? How does your mind flows through me on a treadmill? That's where it comes. And that's I do lots of other spiritual practices, but that's those moments.
That's a good one. Yeah.
It is. And so how does that work for you? What is that time? And I will share that because of that connection and because of the way it offers that sacred union to my body, even with my density schedule, I literally now schedule that time first every day. Yeah. And I won't give it up, whatever that hour is. And I encourage you, if you want to avoid spiritual fatigue, then give it a chance. Yeah. Take 1 hour a day, find the time, and I'll share you can find the time. If I can find the time, I know you can. And really commit to that and notice, even if you try it on for a week, notice what it does.
We are conscious beings. Mm-hmm. Now, are you going to allow your experience to run on autopilot? Are you going to allow reactivity to dominate that which you experience? Or are you going to step up and say, I choose to orchestrate my experience in a way that brings me joy. I choose to orchestrate my life in a way that provides loving service to other beings through the gifts that I have that I enjoy deploying. This isn't about going out and working at the soup kitchen unless that brings you joy. It's about deploying your innate gifts in service to the greater humanity, the greater world, the greater Gaia, the universe, in whatever fashion you receive the joy. Because joy is the discerning energy that will always connect you higher, higher, and higher.
It's a signal from the soul, is it not?
And speaking of joy, we have people standing by.
We do, and so let's hear your questions. Let's bring them into the conversation. Where are we going, Sheree?
Well, I thought we'd head over to BBS Radio once again because we have a couple more first-timers standing by. I'd love to say hi to them.
Hi, everybody.
So we're going to head over to line 2 and say hi to Yuva from California.
Hey, namaste, beloved one. Welcome to the show.
Hi, thank you guys so much for making the videos.
Oh, you're welcome.
My question was that, I guess, how do people deal with going one step forward and 2 steps back, and just how to energetically help themselves stabilize? I just feel tired, and I'm sometimes sensitive to the moon when the full moon is coming. I can't sleep, and I guess I was just wondering, how can people help themselves with dealing with energy and just trying to stabilize themselves?
Well, thank you for asking, Angel.
Great question.
And first of all, you're doing great. I just want you to feel that. I can feel a little hesitancy in your throat chakra, like I was almost holding my breath, and just a little not queasy, but just a little twingy in my third. And so really breathe in. I want you to first receive. You're doing great. And that is I'm glad you asked that question, because you're asking it for a lot of other people. So Sri, please.
Well, I want to say that the 2 steps forward, 1 step backward, well, that could just be a fun little dance, couldn't it?
I think Zadkiel even joked about that.
It's a little do-si-do kind of thing.
Yeah, hokey pokey, right? Left foot in.
And I don't mean to belittle it. What I am suggesting is, when we're learning a new way of being, it's like learning a new dance step. You're going to kind of mess it up at first because you don't have it all down.
But you know the dance.
But you feel the music anyway,
Exactly.
and you kind of go, okay, I'm going to call myself back into that rhythm, that harmony, that alignment. And then I'll take those 2 steps forward once again. And over time, as long as you don't judge yourself, as long as you practice releasing the judgment and choosing love, and you could write this one on a 3x5 card, I can choose judgment or love. I can choose judgment or love. And there's a practice right there. And as we do that,
dimension shift right there.
You're going to find it's going to be 3 steps forward or 4 steps before the 1 step back kind of egoic whatever happens. So just trust your flow. It'll get easier and easier.
Yeah, and sweetheart, as you were sharing, I really felt this huge presence, like come in, like wrapping around you, almost like they're calling it like a crystalline mist, almost like a field, almost like this. And all I kept hearing was, and all I kept hearing was, breathe in you, look up, breathe sweeter air, look up, breathe in again, look up. And you're like spinning. And they're saying, if you stay in that which you know is right and within, this your truth within, then the rest is ready to float. And I just see you, it's like you're spinning, and they're saying, just go right back into the center, see it, you're ready, ignite. And so it is. Thank you for calling.
Thank you so much.
Namaste.
Much love, dear.
Many blessings.
I'm reminded of an old... whatever it is. People often say, have you ever had the experience or know someone who had the experience of saying, doggone it, my job, and then they get fired from the job, and then a month later they say it's the best thing that ever happened to me?
Yeah, always.
It's
after
like,
they get through the fear.
Yeah, exactly. We get through, there's the clinging to that sense of security that lousy job provided, the one you didn't like, and all of a sudden you didn't like it, but you didn't know what to do, and then it got released. and something bigger came forward.
Yeah.
That is the actions of a typical human experience that will also apply to your spiritual evolution. This sense of, I'm holding on to a truth, I'm holding on to a way of being because it's what I know. It's
comfortable.
It's my familiar.
Exactly.
But it may not be truly where you want to go.
Or it could be where you truly want to go. And that's exactly why you're there. And that's that really sincerely. It is the paradox because it's so important to really pay attention to. If you are experiencing spiritual fatigue, then you are carrying a spiritual experience instead of living it. And Archangel Zadkiel has always said it so well. Either accept it and be free, or let it go and stop pretending, and you will be free as well. It's when you're carrying it too long, it's when you're holding it too long, it's when it's become the burden that your body starts speaking to you as well. A lot, I will share with you that many of you know for 5 years I agonized with my knees, and I did wind up with 2 surgeries. However, there was a moment where I had given up, where I actually thought, okay, this is it. There's nothing is going to happen. I've done it all. I took some pharmaceuticals for a while, and it was a terrible mistake. And I was like, no, this is it. Until one day I realized I had a choice. Until the blessing of the work that Sri and I do through the yoga of self-ascension offered me a clear recognition of that choice. And then it's been every day since re-upping that choice. To be vigilant about your level of consciousness is not, for me, it's number one. That is where 100% and then some of my steadfast commitment, my focused awareness and complete trust lies. And so as you poke in, as we were talking earlier about, if I touch in or I touch out or what, what's happening here or how do I deal with this? The key is every time you go in, to go a little higher, to stay a moment longer, to call in a greater sense of appreciation, and to consciously claim it when you come back. Yeah. Because as you practice expanding and contracting, you're like a rubber band, right? Every time that rubber band expands, when it contracts, it's a little bigger. It'll never be that original size again. And so you're going to get to a point where, as I did and as Sri has, where that rubber band is as far as it can go. And if you don't let go, it's going to break and both sides get affected. And so we are at humanity's rubber band moment. No, seriously, we are, right? And so how do we want to arise? Spiritual fatigue is the final bullet in a gun of illusion to get you to absolutely say, okay, I give up. Yeah, let's just do this. Who cares, right? Who cares? It's the ultimate giving up. We give up on ourselves. And as I hope you saw in that beautiful film with Dr. Lorena, in real time, the law of instantaneous manifestation and how quickly we can turn our lives around.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Because when we lay down our delusions, even momentarily, we receive that inspiration and that clarity which will stretch us, as Kira beautifully described, thus giving space for you to do it again, to experience it again, and to claim it.
Yeah.
It's one thing to have a spiritual experience. It's another thing to live a conscious spiritual life.
Right? And you know what, secret? It's only the first jump that ever terrifies you. After that, it gets even fun. Yeah. So who else do we want to share with Sri?
Well, we've got some more people standing by.
Okay.
How about we go to Ali from Florida on line 3 over at BBS.
All right. Namaste. Welcome, beloved one.
Do we have Ali on from line 3?
I don't know. We have a lot more messages holding, honey.
Oh, he dropped.
There we go. Okay, sorry.
My mistake.
There we are.
Well, how about we go to line 5 and say hi to Geraldine.
Hi, namaste, Geraldine. Welcome.
Hi, guys. How are you?
We are so excited to say hi to you.
Hi, dear.
We are too.
Yay!
We wanted to come across your guys' video probably about 3 weeks ago, and I just want to thank you guys. You're such a blessing and inspiration.
Thank you.
Thank you, dear.
Truly.
Thank you.
But I do have a question. now back in 2018, I came across basically my other half. And when we got into physical union for the first time, it threw me into a full-blown Kundalini for about 4 months. That kind of threw my last 2 years off with fast-track clearing and healing and so on. But as of right now, we're kind of staying in the woods and feel kind of stationary, not knowing kind of the next step in our process.
Well, first and foremost, breathe.
Yeah.
Just really breathe. And, you know, I love what you're sharing, and I love your sincerity. You know, sincerity, love, and presence are the formula for miracles, right? So that's the first thing that this beautiful group around you is wanting you to hear, is that you are setting yourselves up for the miracles to happen. However, the clarity that you're seeking needs to come from within. That you're only in the woods because you're still choosing to be there. All the tools you need are being gifted to you, and they're saying, open your eyes and see what's right in front of you. Pay attention and expand. Allow yourself a greater vision, for you are just beginning, and the road ahead is vast, beautiful, and filled with that which will support you. And so it is.
Oh, thank you very much.
Much love to you.
Thank
dear.
you, angels. We love you. Mwah. So nice to meet you, honey. Namaste.
Love you.
Namaste. Wow. Whew.
You know, I'm reminded.
My heart. Everybody feel your heart. Wow.
So often, the intense spiritual experiences we have a hidden agenda. And it's only hidden because
Even from ourselves.
Yeah. Is that we can be in the experience of a Kundalini awakening or an upper chakra opening, whatever it might be, and that energy and that connectivity is kind of can be mind blowing, or it can just be inspiring, whatever it might be. And then there will come a point where often where all of a sudden you go, where'd it go? Hey, wait a minute. I'm back here, and I have that context and that, but what about this? You know, hey, what about this?
Yeah.
You know? Well, part of this is to recognize that you chose your life, your experiences, and your contracts with other beings. And even though the enlightenment experience or the uplifting experience was there as an ignition, it may not resolve all of your attachments. There may be things now that need to be kind of unwound, resolved, forgiven, released, move on, and that's individual. Each of you has that journey to take. And when the inspiration stimulates a sense of, I love myself and I will keep moving through the entanglements, they'll begin to loosen and dissolve. And how quick, how fast, that's really individual.
It's the trust. You know, the X factor is really the amount of trust that you give yourself. Trust in what you have always known is true. Trust in the truth of who you are. Trusting the pieces of you that got shut down when others didn't understand who you were at all. When callous things might have been said to you in a moment in a lack of consciousness. It's the trust that says, I am. Therefore, I am. I am is an active blessing that we shower. And in August right now, and we are heading into such a profound experience before us this week, it is all about saying yes to your rising consciousness. The discus opened this incredible 0 point. It is a moment to celebrate that and to remember that this energy is neutral. And so any being that is carrying steadfast commitment, focused awareness, and complete trust can take that energy, that power, into that manifestation. So may we all be carrying that in our harmonic balance as powerfully and masterfully as our others. It's a good moment for us to practice our mastery and say, you know what? Hey, you didn't know what was sitting on this side of the hill.
Absolutely.
You know it.
And it's important, you know, I'm still reminded that so often in our lives, you know, the 2 steps forward, 1 step back, or the grand Kundalini experience that is kind of shifting. Trust is the spiritual quality that is called for to step into the sustainable ascended realms. We must trust. And as we replace faith with trust, as we take action upon the information or the experience that we felt and experienced as very true, as we act in alignment with it rather than compartmentalize it as an experience, it will unfold more gifts.
Well, and remember that, faith is a belief. Trust is a knowing. And so it's about transcending from our beliefs into our knowing.
Yeah.
Thereby you free up all this energy to literally live the yoga of self-ascension. Remember that we are at a time on our planet that is unlike any other we have collectively done before. We have made it further. And that is why our bodies are refining. That is why all of these advanced ascension symptoms are coming up. This is why we are navigating things that are mind-blowing because the mind has yet to process it. We are literally forging the evolutionary process with every breath right now. So with each breath, what are you calling in? As you were sharing earlier, once again, our studio window is open. And as you were sharing this beautiful wisdom, I was sitting here freaking out at the blessing of breathing in such sweet air. Really being able to feel the breath of Gaia is so sweet. And so with every breath, what are you breathing in and what are you offering? Because it's all a cycle. And Sri, I think we have another first timer with a question over at BBS.
Yeah, we do. We're
All
going to
right.
head over to line 3 and we'll say
Do we have
hi
enough time?
to
We
Avi.
have just enough time. All
Avi
right.
from Florida.
Hey, namaste, beloved one. Welcome to the show.
Hello, Shri and Kira. Namaste. This is Abhi from Florida. I have a quick question. So I feel like, I'm a starseed and I've, taken a birth into Gaia to ascend into 5D and help humanity, move into 5D. So as a starseed, what is the ascension symptoms and how to navigate through this Lionsgate portal? If you could just guide me through this, it would be great. Thank you so much.
And it is an honor. Thank you for calling in. First and foremost, Sri and I are receiving the blessing of you in this moment. Sri, I'll let you share.
One of the things to remember that every symptom that your body presents, every ascension symptom, is there for you to smile with, not react to. When we smile with the body and from the energy of non-resistance, the symptom begins to inform us. It might shift, it might morph, but more importantly, it's going to connect us to a frequency that is seeking to be integrated.
Yeah.
And in the seeking to be integrated comes the wisdom. When we are able to have a ringing in our ears and we hear it as a call, we hear it as a frequency, then that ringing becomes our spiritual guide in that moment. Or one of the things that I've experienced quite frequently is a form of tendinitis. And that as the more I'm present to it, the more I realize that I'm transiting from an earthly experience into a more ascended state of being. And that these connective tissues are trying to connect me. So I offer those to you as examples and reassurances. And I know Kira has some soul information for you right now.
I just need to share that in this moment, you and I we're in Varanasi, and you're on the bank of the river, and you're in, just your feet are in right now, and there is this beautiful, beautiful saintly being. He keeps giving me all these different names, and he keeps telling me that none of them matter. And he's looking at you as you're looking up at him, and I'm having the honor of being here to just witness this. And he's saying to you, my son, you must first stop this questioning and look at what it is you are truly afraid of, for it is still governing you. You have been given so much, and you have been prepared. When will you understand that all you need do is dive fully into the river so that you may stand up again? And so it is. Thank you for this honor.
Thank you.
Many blessings.
Thank you so much, Sri and Kira. Namaste. Much blessings. Thank you.
Namaste. Thank you, my love. And Wow, I'm very dizzy, but I just want to once again offer the energy of my Gauri Shankar to you, to the world. This is Varanasi in the Shiva moon, and it has 5 diamonds in it, and this was for that night Shri and I were blessed to be the only ones on the river. This is my very, very large Gauri Shankar. It is Nepalese. And then the beautiful Trinity as the lotus in our ascended consciousness. And I'm holding this one together with a garnet wisdom strand right now. It just feels appropriate. And so I can't think of a better way to close the show than with that reading. And honestly, I am spinning so much. I hope that you guys are too. Wow, Shri.
Yeah, it is such a blessing to be together and to touch into the various zones of interaction, the frequencies that intersect. Our lives are filled with blessings. Our lives are filled with opportunities. Be mindful where you place your attention. Be mindful where you draw energy from. Are we drawing energy from density, from the lower chakras, or are we drawing our energy from our heart and from the upper chakras? Because as we allow the energy to lift us, meaning it enters from the feet and up the spine and lifts us, we become very light walkers on Gaia as opposed to tied into Gaia.
We walk with her instead of on her.
We walk with her instead of on her, yes. Yeah. And as we allow those energetics to continue to flow, that which is resistant, that which is heavy, will come forward for forgiveness and release.
And, why don't you support yourself this week? Make sure you join us tomorrow night at Monday Magic. If you're not part of that yet, get there. Go to ShriandKira.com. Next thing, Tuesday night, Soul Mirrors. You want to be there. We're expanding all that is happening this week. We're going to talk about it more. And then, of course, WWA Global. Join us. There's still time. We love you. You can do this. You're ready. You are not tired. You are inspired because your consciousness is ignited.
So it is. See you next week.
Namaste.
Thank you for joining us at Shri and Kira Live. To have your questions answered, send us an email to guest@shriandkiraradio.com and check out more information at shriandkira.com. See you next week. Namaste.